वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजन सहितं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम् श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासवी गौरभक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थसुभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदयादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया मनश्च भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुकी। आप सभी का स्वागत है।
We welcome all of you to this class on the first chapter of Srimad Bhagavad-Gita. In the previous class, we studied till verse number 12, in which it was discussed that when Duryodhan approached his guru Dronacharya and described about both the armies, and then he said that all of you should protect Bhishma. So then, having heard this, Bhishma blew his conch shell
उन्होंने अपने प्रताप नामक शंख का नाद किया।
So he blew his conch in Pratap for the pleasure of Duryodhan, because he understood that there is some frustration or some fear in the heart of Duryodhan by having seen the army of Pandavas. Because from description also we saw that he described Pandavas army in detail, but for his own army in just one verse he told about seven generals. So Bhishma is the eldest of all in both the armies, and he is respectable by both the armies. So his blowing the conch is can be taken kind of an indication that the war can be started. Although, according to that verse, he had not blown the conch for beginning the war. Like the verse says, that blowing of conch was to encourage Duryodhan to remove his fear. That, but both the armies thought, because both the armies were not hearing this discussion between Duryodhan and Dronacharya. The army soldiers had not heard this. So when they heard the terrifying sound of Bhishma's blowing of his conch, they interpreted it as if it means that it's a signal for beginning the war. So hearing this, the both the armies were standing there enthusiastic to begin the war, and they started blowing various instruments.
तो उसके बाद जो है वहाँ पे शंख, भेरी, नगाड़े,
So thereafter, conches, kettle drums, small and big drums, and trumpets suddenly sounded forth. So here it is shown that they have had so much enthusiasm that these drums, these kettle drums, they started blowing automatically. But here it is said as if they suddenly they started blowing on their own, and that noise was tumultuous. Because obviously, if so many musical instruments are blowing, so then there will be a lot of noise. So here it is being simply shown that how much enthusiasm was there in both the armies for fighting the war, and out of happiness, all of them were dancing. Like brahmanas become happy if they get an invitation for a yajna. A vaishya becomes happy if he gets an opportunity to earn money. Similarly, kshatriyas become happy if they get an opportunity to fight in the war. So like that, he is very enthusiastic. So after this, the description that is given, that is about Shri Krishna, Bhagavan Shri Krishna and Arjuna. Although ideally other generals who are senior to Arjun, they should have been described first. But everybody knows that Bhagavan Shri Krishna, he is a very different person. He is not like others. All his activities, he is alaukik. All his activities from birth, all kinds of leelas he did, they were not human. So his all pastimes were beyond human like. He was famous for those pastimes. So that's why Sanjay is first describing about Bhagavan Shri Krishna.
तो उसके बाद में जो है
Then
वहाँ पर माधव और पांडव,
there Madhav and Pandav,
अपना दिव्य शंख बजाया,
they blew their divine conches. They were seated on magnificent chariot.
उनका रथ, चंदन का मतलब होता है रथ जो चलता है,
Sandhyana means chariot, which moves, and Mahati is very big. So their chariot was also divine chariot, and the horses which were yoked, they were of white color, and they blew their divine conches. The conches of both Shri Krishna and Arjun were divine. So it means their conches were not ordinary. So in Bhagavad Gita, the kind of description that is given, that Shri Krishna and Arjun are seated on the chariot, this is a poetic way of giving knowledge. Those things which are clearly told in Upanishads, they are explained in Mahabharata in the background of a story. So in Kathopanishad, we have this verse.
विषयास्तेषु गोचराम मनो इंद्रिय आत्मा मनो इंद्रिय आत्मेंद्रिय मनोयुक्तम भोक्तारित्याहु मनीषिण। तो बहुत ही सुंदर वर्णन है कठोपनिषद।
So this is a very nice description in Kathopanishad. It is said that this body is like a chariot. Like I explained in the previous classes also, that our life is a journey. And many times we speak also like this, that how is your life moving on? So if life is moving on, that means it is a journey. Journey means to move from one place to another place. So if we are moving, then there should be a vehicle also. And that vehicle is described as a chariot, which is the body. So the body is described like a chariot. The soul, the Atma, which is sitting in the body, it is a passenger. So who is the passenger? The passenger is the Atma. The vehicle or the chariot, so it should have a driver also. The driver is Buddhi, the intelligence. So the Buddhi, the intelligence, is the chariot driver. The word Sarathi comes from Sri Dhatu, from which we get Sadak or road. It comes from Sri Dhatu, from that we get Sarpa. Like Sarpa or the snake, it also moves. And we walk on the Sadak or the road. So we move on that, on the Sarak, the road. Sadak is that on which we move, that comes from Sarak, to move. So this Buddhi, the intelligence, is the chariot driver. And the one who is seated on that is Rathi, the passenger. So the Atma is the Rathi, the passenger. And we know that when a person dies, he is taken on the Arthi. It is actually Arathi. So Arathi means the Rathi has moved out of the Ratha. The Ratha is the body and the Rathi is the Atma. So the Atma has moved out of the body. So it is so when the person dies and is taken away, it is called Arathi. So if
बुद्धि जो है वो सारथी है।
So the Buddhi is the Sarathi, the chariot driver. And mind, so one who is driving, he should have some control. Like in car, there is steering. So manas or the mind is the reins of the horses.
प्रग्रह बोलते हैं, तो
In
मन
Sanskrit, it is called pragraha.
और इंद्रियाणी कोई वाहन होगा तो उसके कुछ चलने के लिए
And the indriyani, the vehicle, it will be moving on some
पुराने जमाने में
wheels.
तो घोड़े का एक
So earlier there was no car, so it is explained through horses. In modern language, you can say the steering is the mind, and the driver is the intelligence, the buddhi, and the wheels of the car are the indriyas, the senses, and that entire body, the structure of the car is our body. So this is an analogy to understand our body. And the sense objects are those places where the car is moving. So we have the five senses, they have their own sense objects. And one who is trying to enjoy this, that is the bhokta, the enjoyer. So this is important to understand. All these explanation that is given for the war. So I had told earlier also that our life is a journey and there is a continuous war. So if the war is not outside, then it is inside. In the waking state as well as the dreaming state. So this is what we have to understand, how we should win in the war and reach our destination. What is our desired destination? Attaining happiness and getting rid of misery. So Bhagavad Gita is teaching that art through this analogy. Analogy means a kind of a stage setting or a drama in which we get some entertainment. Like it's not like the modern entertainment in movies, which are just entertainment. Their primary goal is entertainment. But the Natya Shastra or the Natak or the dramas in the Vedic Shastras, their primary goal is to impart knowledge to us. We learn the art of living the life. So here, white horses means the horses are pure, means our senses should be pure. If our senses are impure, then they will move, they take us to impure sense objects, and then they will consume those impure sense objects, and that will go inside us, and it will create vikaras or those impressions in our chitta, and its result will be dukkha or misery. So all the problem begins from here only. Because whatever is inside our mind, it has all come from outside only. It has not been born from inside. Whatever samskaras, the impressions we have inside us, they have all come from outside. And how have they come from outside? Through our indriyas, the senses. The five senses, whether we are hearing, seeing, tasting, touching, through this only everything is going inside, and it just doesn't get destroyed inside, it leaves impressions. Like food goes inside, it gives nourishment to the body, from that some part comes out and some part remains inside. So food is known as ahar in Sanskrit. But ahar in Hindi, we generally think what is consumed through the mouth. But actually, what is going through the eyes, that is food for the eyes. That is the ahar of the eyes. So similarly, there is ahar for the nose. Ahar means whatever goes inside. So it's not that we take food only through the mouth. What we take through the mouth is only for the body. But then what goes through the other senses, it is from the mind. Like we hear music or we want to see something nice. So that is ahar or the food for the mind, and it has a lot of impact on our mind. It can nourish our mind, it can destroy it. So like when we take food, its primary objective is to give nourishment to the body, but it can also give disease to the body if we eat the wrong type of food. Like nowadays we have these fast food. So the fast food, it generates lot of diseases in the body. Actually, the real fast food is just consume fruits and milk. What can be faster than that? We don't have to do anything to that, and no cooking. So if you drink a glass of milk, what gets faster than that? If you have to cook chapati, roti, dal, then it will take time. But this is ready-made. Eat some banana, water, orange. So fast food is readily available from the Prakriti, the nature. But nowadays that is known as slow food. So fast means it just does it work and it gets out of the body. There is nothing fast about it. So the third thing that the food does, that is to get rid of, remove diseases, like we call home remedies, simple methods of treatment in home, to like take some herb or something else. So that is also food. Similarly, whatever food we consume, it can nourish our body, it can also destroy our body. Similarly, whatever we consume in our mind through our senses, it can it can nourish our body and mind, or it can destroy our body mind. Similarly, in the Hindu dharma, in Sanatan dharma, like we have samskaras, whether the samskaras is for conception or for marriage, etc. Like this, there are 16 main samskaras and there are 40 small samskaras. So there is samskar till death, but even after death, so like now the Pitra Paksha is going on. So that is also samskar, shraddha. So samskar means what will enter inside. It will do some purification. It will purify the vikaras. So these white horses, why white? What was the purpose of telling white horses? It could have simply told horses. So the purpose of telling white is the to explain the internal meaning, because the horses are the senses, so our senses should be pure. That's why in Ayurveda, waking up in the morning, washing our face, washing the teeth, nose, taking bath, this is cleaning of the senses, because the senses will contact sense objects. If the sense objects are pure but our senses are impure, then they will spoil the sense objects also. So that is why first of all there is description of the horses, that is very important. And senses should be engaged only in pure sense objects, like these horses which are yoked in the chariot. So the one who have, those who have yoked them, engaged them, is Madhav and Pandav. Because in Indriyas, the senses, if they are not controlled, like the horses, if they are not controlled, they will move according to what, wherever, in the direction wherever they like. So here Madhav and Pandav are mentioned. Madhav is Lakshmipati. He is he has all Aishwaryas, all opulence. It means that he is not a beggar, that wherever he sees an opportunity, he just goes there to get something. When you are very hungry, you are ready to eat whatever you have. So, like when you are hungry, you are ready to eat anything. So, Madhava means he is fulfilled in himself, fully satisfied. So, he will not allow the Indriyas, the senses, to just wander here and there. And Pandu means also white. So for Arjun, the word Pandav which is used here, it means he is a pure personality. His thought process is pure. And what to speak of Bhagavan. And Their conch is also divine. Conch is also white. Horses are also white.
वो भी शुद्ध हैं,
Bhagavan is also pure. White is an indication of purity.
शंख बजाया। तो इस
They
शंख
blew
बजाने
their
का क्या मतलब है?
conches.
तो ये है कि
So, what is the meaning of blowing their conches? It means they
भीष्म ने शंख पहले बजाया तो उनके उनके आगे
Bhishma
भगवान को वास्तव में सबसे
he
पहले
blew the conch initially. Ideally, Bhagavan should have
श्रेष्ठ और
blown
सबसे
his
बड़े
conch in the
भगवान
first
श्री
place
कृष्ण है।
because the eldest is actually Bhagavan Shri Krishna, the senior most, but he did not
उन्होंने
blow his conch.
भीष्म पितामह का शंख बजाने के बाद ही अपना शंख
He
बजाया।
blew his conch after
इससे
Bhishma,
ये
grandsire
दर्शाता
Bhishma,
है
blew
कि
his
मैं तो
conch.
स्वयं भगवान हूँ,
So
लेकिन
that Bhagavan is showing that
धर्म का पालन
although
करने
I
वाला
am Swayam Bhagavan,
तो
but I follow the rules of
आदर
dharma.
करना चाहिए।
So the elders
का
should
निरादर हो
be
जाता है, भगवान
respected.
बजा देते
If
थे,
elders
कोई
are,
रोकने वाला नहीं था।
because generally now in society elders get disrespected. So if Bhagavan would also have blown his conch initially, nothing would have happened. Bhishma would have respected him. When Yudhishthir Maharaj conducted the Rajasuya sacrifice, so there is Agra Puja in Rajasuya Yajna. So the guests, the kings who arrive there, in them, whoever is the senior most is worshipped. So there was a deliberation on whose worship should happen in the first place. That is Agra Puja. So everyone is worshipped, but who is worshipped first of all, that is very important. So like when Aarti is circulated in the temple after Bhagwan's Aarti is done, but it is given first to the senior most person there. Although everybody will get the Aarti, but the senior most person gets first. So in that Rajasuya Yagna sacrifice, so there were big kings. So there was deliberation on who should be worshipped first. So Bhishma Pitama, who was there, he was the eldest and he was so senior in wisdom. But he himself said that the first puja should be done to Sri Krishna. And everyone agreed except Shishupal. So, so here it is proved that Bhagavan, though he has so much, he did not blow his conch in the first place, although he is full of opulence. But blowing of conch also means like throwing a challenge. So it is a war. Then Bhishma is also throwing a challenge. So Bhagavan accepted that challenge, and the challenge is accepted in two ways. One is by responding, giving a reaction. Like if somebody speaks to us in some slang language, insults us, so then immediately our blood pressure increases. So we become angry and we immediately respond, we start reacting. So this is also an action. Reacting is also an action. And the another thing is, if we hear some insulting words, somebody tells insulting words, and then we deliberate, what should we do? Should we respond or not? So that is kriya, action, which is done through a deliberating mind by thinking and reacting. Now we have the age of internet. Anybody says anything, does anything, immediately there is reaction. So if you just get caught up in that, in reacting to others, so what happens? Mostly we don't have control of our mind. We just act based on our ahankar. So mostly in our life, we don't act. Mostly we just react. Why he told like this to me? And then life gets spent in that only. Means like if you are moving from here to, let's say, Delhi, you have to reach there. Let's say you have to attend a meeting and you don't have much time, and suddenly in between somebody tells you some insulting words, you are reading an email and you get caught up in that, so then you will not be able to reach there. Then that person will respond. As it's not that the person says something and we'll simply keep silent. So then we will simply remain caught in acting, reacting, and always reacting. And then we will fail to achieve our destination. So mostly, most of our time gets caught up in reacting to others. Same thing in family. If husband says something, wife becomes upset, then this acting, reacting goes on, and then it becomes something very big. And then the wife will tell to her own family members, and then they will arrive, and then it becomes a very long drawn battle. And then nowadays there will be blogs, emails on all these issues. So it is very important to stay away from this net, the cycle of acting, reacting, if we want to achieve something permanent. Our karma also works like this. We do something in our life, and because of that, we have to face something, some bad situation in our life, and then we react to that, and then that reaction again generates a new karma, and then it will bring some other effect in our life, and then like this we get caught up in this cycle of karma. This is called samsara, the worldly existence. So Bhagavad Gita is teaching how to rise above this cycle of karma, because battle will be there always. It's not that war will not be there. Bhagavan also had to fight. From his birth only there was war. 40 years he kept on fighting since his birth. Sometime or the other, everybody was coming. Even we can see in the life of Bhagwan Ram. So it is shown that in our life will also be like this. If you see Pandavas, they were having no fault. So you can't say that I had no fault, why this happened to me. That you forget it. You are not bigger than Bhagavan. You are not bigger than Pandavas. You are not bigger than Draupadi. They faced so much insult. No woman has faced ever so much insult like this. Although nowadays, somewhere in Manipur, some insult like this happened. But if we see the life of Pandavas, with how much patience and wisdom they dealt with this. You see this, when Draupadi was brought into that assembly hall by dragging, and she was about to be disrobed. So that time also, without being disturbed, she questioned. That means how much deep knowledge and wisdom she must have had. So if somebody has very deep knowledge also, he can act on that knowledge only if mind is stable. If when our mind is not stable, we forget the knowledge and we just act based on our mind. But when Draupadi asked the question, nobody could answer her question. Even Bhishma bowed his head down. Dronacharya also. King Yudhishthir also, although he is known as Dharmaraj. So that means Draupadi, she had such expert debating skill. Nowadays, like we see in news channels, people just keep fighting and shouting. Even in parliament, it's just shouting and hooting. Like sometimes I see they receive some clips, video clips about this debates in parliament. It's a great surprise. These people, they frame laws for our country, and the way they behave. So Sabha actually means where Sabhya, cultured, civilized people sit there. But the most uncivilized behavior can be seen in that Sabha. So actually, Sabha means where only Sabhya people, were cultured, civilized people are allowed. But how much uncivilized behavior we see there in that Sabha? Even fighting physically, even using slang language. But if you see this debating skill of Draupadi, the way she questioned, even the Maharathis, they could not answer her question. So it's not that our ladies were not educated. If they were not educated, then how did Draupadi ask such deep question? So with this, we understand. Let's return back to our original topic, that in our life we should not react. Now, not reacting does not mean that somebody does something to us, speaks something bad to us, and we should not respond only. But we should not answer simply because we are boiling from within and then we act accordingly. We should be calm, peaceful, and then we should answer. Otherwise, we have given the remote control in the other person's hands. When we react, it is like we have given the control of our mind and intelligence to the other person. Whenever he wants, he can become angry, and he can provoke us to become angry, and then we don't have our own independence. Then we become slaves of others. The other people, whenever they want, they can make us angry by speaking something. That kind of situation should not arise. If such situation arises, then we will always remain frustrated and miserable, because nowadays so many people have remote control. Now this age of internet, everybody has the remote control. Everyone has the mouse in his hand. Ganesh ji wrote Mahabharat. So is the compute like the computer works on mouse? So Ganesh, who is the vehicle, the mouse. So nowadays, whatever we write, it is on computer and it works on mouse. So Ganesh ji is the old computer. Vyas ji is dictating and it is working on the mouse. So now that is happening. We just keep writing on the mouse and then we generate a Mahabharat. Here, Mahabharat means war. Mahabharat does not mean war, but lot of Mahabharatas are going on simply because of this writing and putting up on internet. So why it happens? Because we don't have control on ourselves. So here, who is the chariot driver? The chariot driver is Bhagavan Shri Krishna. So who can be more self-controlled than Bhagavan himself? He analyzes every situation. If he has to fight, he fights. If he has to run away, he runs away. It's not that he says that I am Kshatriya, how can I run away? No. In the 10th chapter of Gita, he says that those who want to win, those who want to win, among them I am Niti. So victory is attained by diplomacy, Niti. And for Niti, we need intelligence. So sometimes he ran away also, and he got the name Ranchod. And when he fought also. And when he had to drive the chariot, he did that also. So he doesn't have this ahankara, how can I do this or how can I do that? So the person who thinks like this, he cannot be successful. Like we should be fully flexible. Oh, so when there is tornado, even the big trees they get blown away, but nothing happens to the grass. Grass is flexible. Grass can move here and there. The tornado cannot uproot the grass. So those who are standing tall with their ahankar, the tornado uproots them. So we should be flexible like Bhagavan. Although he is Bhagavan, he is Madhav, he is the husband of Lakshmi, but he is driving the chariot. Everybody worships Lakshmi. Now Diwali is approaching. Everybody wants the mercy of Lakshmi, and Krishna is her husband. And but he is driving the chariot, and he even got the name Partha Sarathi. If people have to do an act, an inferior act, they do it in hiding. But Bhagavan is telling, no, give me the name Partha Sarathi. Because no act is big or small. Big or small is because of the person. The person is big or small. If a bigger person, if a senior person does some inferior act, it becomes small. So we ourselves have to become big. Being big does not mean that we just become something physically very big. It means becoming big means our mind should become completely calm, peaceful. So like when we say Mahatma, it does not mean that Atma is becoming big. It indicates the state of consciousness. So Madhav and Pandav, they blew their divine conch and they accepted the challenge. That's what they indicated. We are not going to run away. We are steadfast. We are resolutely standing here to fight against adharma. And we have got white horses, which means our chitta, our mind, our intelligence, it's all pure. So our life should move based on our intelligence. Here, Bhagavan is the chariot driver. That further, Bhagavan will tell that I am Buddhi. That is being shown here. That Buddhi is the chariot driver. So, if we have to make our life successful, then we should be on intelligence. Person works based on likes and dislikes on mind. Mind will wander here and there. Senses will wander here and there. So a person, even if he has diabetes, he knows he can die by eating sweet, but he will do that. So that means his intelligence is not holding on to the reins of the horses. That's why in Gita, Bhagavan says, he says that, O Partha, one who works based on his intelligence, he gets rid of the bondage of karma. And getting rid of the bondage of karma is mukti, that is happiness. It does not mean that we have to go to some other loka, anywhere else. In living here only, we can attain the state of liberation if we work based on intelligence. But when the intelligence is sleeping, and we get influenced by our mind, then that same intelligence engages us in the wrong act. Intelligence is not going anywhere. Intelligence is simply an instrument. Like a knife, it's a mechanical instrument. It can be used to kill somebody. It can be used to perform a surgery. It can be used in cooking. So same intelligence, it can engage us in a wrong act if it is under the control of the mind. That is called impure intelligence. So just by seeing, this verse seems to have like nothing. It's some just it is simply telling then Sri Krishna and Arjun, seated on a magnificent chariot yoked with white horses, blew their divine conches. But actually, the whole secret of living the life in a correct way is hidden in this. So this is the greatness of our Shastra, that in such a simple way they can impart such deep wisdom. But in order to unfold what is hidden inside the verses, we need the right teacher, right guru. Without the guru, it is not possible to understand the hidden deep wisdom in the verses. So that's what is being told here, that how our we should have our chariot and the horses in the proper place. Otherwise, if the rathi, the passenger, is not there, then it will become a rathi, that is dead. So mostly our life is just moving without any direction, any guidance, any wisdom. It's like a dead, dead, dead body moving. Now, in the next verse, in the 15th verse,
श्री कृष्ण अपना पांचजन्य शंख
Sri Krishna blew his conch named Panchajanya, and Arjun blew his conch Devadatta, and Bhima, the performer of Herculean tasks, blew his mighty conch Pounder. So here the first description is of Rishikesha. Rishik means also Indriyas, the senses. Rishikesh means one who is the controller of the senses. So Sri Krishna is the controller of everyone's senses, our senses also, but he will control only when we are devoted to him. Otherwise, he just releases them and he says, do whatever you like. So his conch is named Panchajanya. There was a demon named Panchajana, and when he had kidnapped Krishna's gurus, Sandipani Muni's son, then Sandipani Muniji's wife, when Sri Krishna had completed his studies at the Gurukul and he went to his guru asking, what Guru Dakshina can I give you? So this was like a custom, a tradition earlier. The gurus did not take fees when the education was completed. That time, the disciple, the Shishya, he used to give Guru Dakshina, whatever was his capacity he liked. So the one of the sons of Sandipani Muni, he had died. He went to Prabhas Kshetra for pilgrimage and he just got drowned in the water. So the demon Panchajana had captured him. So he told that, can you bring back my son? So actually, who will ask such a Guru Dakshina that you bring a dead person alive? It even asking like this seems foolish. Can some person be so foolish that a person who is dead, how can he become alive? And that too, such a intelligent person, Sandipani Muni, is asking like this. He actually knew this is Bhagavan and he can do anything actually. So he went in the ocean and Krishna killed that demon Panchajana and there this conch was there and he obtained this conch. That's why the conch got the name Panchajanya. It has another meaning also. Pancha also means panch, five, and jan means so from Panchajan we get Panchajanya. Panchajanya also means agreement of five people. Like earlier there was Panchayat. Why Panch? It was called Panchayat in the village because there were five panchas. So from Pancha word we have this word Panchayat. So Panchajanya also means the conclusion or the final decision of the Panchayat, and that is his conch. It means Krishna works for the welfare of the society. It means like whatever is the act of welfare for society, that is Panchajanya. What it means from Shankha, sound comes. Shankha is the symbol of knowledge. When we speak, the Shabda, it is the quality of Akash. So Panchajanya, telling Panchajanya means the sound that comes from that. That is symbolic of knowledge. Bhagavan keeps this conch in his hand. It means he imparts knowledge. So first of all, he blew his conch. It means, although it is for the declaration of war, but here it also means that he will impart knowledge of Gita.
तो उनके मुख कमल से ये भगवत गीता निकली है.
So this Bhagavad Gita has emanated from his mouth. This is his blowing of conch. Gita is Bhagavan's blowing of his conch, his knowledge of Gita. This is what he has told, and he is Rishikesha. So the person, many people give knowledge in society, but their senses are not under their control. So there are many people, the knowledge they give, they themselves don't follow. So Rishikesh means he is not like that. His senses are fully controlled. Other people, many people who have, they have knowledge, but they don't follow that. Why? Because their mind, their senses are not under control. Here Rishikesh does not mean only external senses, even the internal senses. All his senses are under his control, so he will not speak based on the impulse of his senses. So that's why the knowledge that he will impart will be beneficial for everyone. That is what Panchajanya means. And this knowledge he will impart it to Dhananjaya. So here Arjun is called as Dhananjaya. Dhananjaya means one who wins wealth. And real wealth is knowledge. Knowledge is the biggest wealth. That is obtaining this wealth. One who obtains this wealth is the richest person who has the wealth of knowledge, because the external wealth it has problem. There is a lot of endeavor for that. But this wealth of knowledge, it doesn't become a burden on us. If you distribute this, it doesn't decrease. If you distribute the other wealth, it will reduce. But this wealth of knowledge, if you distribute, it will increase. But that physical wealth, if you distribute, it decreases. So his conch, Arjuna's conch is Devadatta. Why it is called Devadatta? Dev word is used for the devatas also, but it is especially also used for senses. Indra is the king of the clouds. So Devadatta here means the Dev that Indra has given. So Arjun was so courageous that he went to Swarga, fought there for Indra. There were some demons who were always disturbing the Devas. So when they used to come, Arjun went there and he killed these demons. So Indra was very pleased, and Indra gave this conch to Arjun. That's why it is called Devadatta. And those conches which are ahead of that, that is Pondra, Vikodara, Bhim. Vrikodar is the name of Bhim. As such, it is known for wolf, and Udar, that is a stomach. So so Bhim, in his stomach, he has a special fire. It is called the fire of Vrika. It can digest anything. And Bhima Karma also means that he can do very terrifying acts. Also means Bhayanak, terrifying. He had also killed Bakasur. He had killed Kichak in the Vatsya Desha when he was living at the kingdom of Virat. So Bhim is very powerful, very strong. So here Bhima Karma Vrikodara is stated, and his conch is stated here as Mahashankha, the mighty conch, very big conch. His conch is named Poundra. Pundra is used for tilak, like the tilak that we put, it is called Urdhva Pundra. Pundra is tilak. So Poundra comes from Pundra. Pundra also means white, pure. So that's why that's what he declared by his the sounding of his conch. After this, there is the name of conches only. King Yudhishthir, the son of Kunti, blew his conch Ananta Vijaya. So Ananta Vijaya, by this Sanjay is indicating that Vijay or victory will happen to this Yudhishthir only. But why is he called Raja? King Yudhishthir was not the king of any place. Why is he being addressed here as the king? He was not the king of any place. So Dhritarashtra had asked this question in the first verse. So the goal objective of his asking was what happened, who won, who lose. So here it is being indicated that the son of Kunti, Yudhishthir, Yudhishthir means one who is stable, sthira or stable in yudhi or the yuddha, the battle, war. One who is stable in the war. He is the son of Kunti. Kunti was the aunt of Bhagavan Shri Krishna. So will he let Kunti Putras to lose? Nakul and Sahadev blew Sughosha and Mani Pushpaka respectively. Then there is a further description of conscious.
दृष्टद्युम्नो विराटस्य सात्यकीश्चा पराजित। तो काशी के राजा जो बहुत
The king of Kashi, who wielded a mighty bow, and Shikhandi, the great chariot fighter,
हत्या करने के लिए पैदा हुए थे।
he was
दृष्टद्युम्न
born to kill,
पुत्र हैं,
and as well as Drishtadyumna and
ये
Virat.
सेनापति भी हैं।
Virat,
जानते हैं जिनका 1 साल बिताया
you know, at whose kingdom Pandavas
वो यादव कुल के हैं।
stayed for 1 year. Satyaki is a Yadav. He is the disciple of Arjuna.
बोला कि सात्यकी जो अपराजित
So for Satyaki, it is said he who is invincible. Nobody can defeat him.
तो इसलिए सात्यकी भी जीवित बचे थे।
So that's why Satyaki was also alive here.
बाकी सब सेना समाप्त हो गई थी। 5 पांडव भगवान कृष्ण और सात्यकी
The remaining army was all destroyed.
लोग जीवित बचे थे।
5 Pandavas, Satyaki were alive.
तो ये चापराजिता का दूसरा भी अर्थ कर सकते हैं। इसको एक शब्द भी ले सकते हैं।
If you take it as one word as Chaparajita,
विच्छेद किया जा सकता
you
है।
can do it as Chaparajita means chap means bow, dhanush, and Parajita means one who will
चमक रहे हैं अपने बड़े धनुष से।
chap, and Rajita means one who is illuminating. So it can be taken like that also.
तो द्रौपदी के पिताजी हैं।
Drupad is the father of Draupadi. Draupadeya, the 5 sons of Draupadi. Here Prithvi Pate is used for Dhritarashtra, emperor of the earth.
अंतिम नाम जो है वो सुभद्रा के।
The last name is for the son of Subhadra. Abhimanyu was the youngest, but he was also mighty armed. He was very powerful and he fought very courageously, and it died.
डिटेल से वर्णन जो है वो महाभारत में मिलता है। तो यहाँ तक जो है ये सब
So till here, these are the descriptions of various conches.
क्या प्रभाव पड़ा
Now, what was the effect
श्लोक से बताया जाएगा।
of this blowing of conches? That will be explained from the next verse onwards. We will discuss that in the next class.
बंद करते हैं।
Today we will stop here.
पूछना हो तो
If anybody has any question,
है कि अगले
please ask.
रविवार को पाठ नहीं होगा क्योंकि
There's another announcement that on the next Sunday there is no class because I'll be busy in some other engagement.
किसी का कोई प्रश्न है?
बाबाजी महाराज प्रणाम। शास्त्र में हम पढ़ते हैं कि
So question, Babaji Maharaj Pranam. In Shastras, Yudhishthir was mentioned as the personification of Dharma. Then how did he put Draupadi in the bet?
कैसे पेट पे लगाई द्रौपदी?
तो उससे पहले तो यही प्रश्न पूछना चाहिए कि वो युद्ध क्रीड़ा ही क्यों की?
So ideally, first of all, the question that should be asked is why did he engage in that game of dice?
इसका जो मूल कारण है अनेक
So there are many reasons actually.
उन्होंने ये किया।
Primarily, the reason is he did this because he was ordered by Dhritarashtra that you come here and play this game of dice.
मना नहीं कर सकते थे,
So he could not refuse that.
इसलिए वो आए।
For that he came.
जब वो वहाँ
And then when he started losing, Shakuni, who was sitting there, who was very expert in playing the game of dice,
तो फिर वो बार-बार वहाँ पर जो पण, इसको संस्कृत में पण बोलते हैं, बैट अंग्रेजी में बोलते हैं,
so
लगा रहे थे। तो
continuously when Yudhishthir was betting, when he was continuously losing,
अगर आप इसमें जीत गए तो हम आपको सब कुछ लौटा देंगे।
so then he was told that you just place this last bet and if you win that, we will return everything to you. So in this gambling, this is what happens. Always there is a hope that if I win, I will get everything back. So that's why he had to place all that on the bet. But he lost.
तो शैलेश जी का प्रश्न है, you mentioned that even a knowledgeable person may not be able to may not be able to control their senses. What is it that makes the person able to put their senses under control instead of person who is unable to do so when the both are situated in knowledge? तो उसके लिए अभ्यास करना पड़ता है, अभ्यास है ना तो
So for that we have to practice.
यही मुख्य चीज है.
This is
हमारी इंद्रियां तो
main.
स्वभाव से ही इन विषयों की तरफ जाती हैं.
Our senses by default they move towards their sense objects. Every sense has its sense object,
उन विषय में कुछ
and
विषय
then
हैं जो
in that there are some sense objects which give us pleasure, some that don't give us pleasure. So obviously those objects which give us pleasure, our senses get attracted to those sense objects. So Bhagavan tells this in Gita.
हर एक व्यक्ति का अपना अपना अपनी अपनी इंद्रिय का
Every person who he has a specific attachment and hatred towards some sense objects.
उसका हम अगर अभ्यास करके
So if we practice, if we recognize, and if we don't recognize, don't practice, then even if we have knowledge, we will come under the sway of those senses, sense objects.
मिठाई नहीं खानी चाहिए.
Like I gave example of the diabetic person, he should not eat sweets, but he doesn't have control on his sense of taste. He has knowledge, but he is not able to resist the sense object because he has no control on his sense of taste.
वो फिर से पूछ रहे गरिमा जी, गुरुजी, परंतु एक मनुष्य को दान पर लगाने के पीछे क्या मंशा हो सकती है?
So the again question regarding Yudhishthir, why should he place a human being on the bet? So the only reason he was because he was promised that he would get back everything if he win that bet. So just to get everything back, he had to place himself and Draupadi on that. It was wrong. I'm not telling that what he did was right. What he did was wrong. But in such a complex situation, even the best of the people get bewildered. These stories, these analogies, they are taught for this purpose only, that we get such situations in our life where our intelligence gets bewildered, that in which situation, what should we do?
दूसरा हानि होती है और लाभ भी कुछ होता है. तो ये निर्णय लेना क्या करना चाहिए नहीं करना चाहिए, क्योंकि हमें फल क्या निकलेगा उसको हमें निश्चय नहीं होता है ना. ये तो उसका निश्चय नहीं
So
था. मैं दांव को लगाऊंगा तो मैं जीत ही जाऊंगा.
it was not guaranteed that he would win, but he thought like that, that if I win, I will get back everything.
तो वो गए थे अपने आप को.
He had already lost himself. So then he said, anyway, wife is anyway lost because I am already lost.
दांव लगा के हार गई तो पत्नी कहाँ की महारानी बनी रहेगी.
So when I have already lost myself and brothers, how can my wife remain anyway the queen? So what is anyway? It doesn't make any difference whether I place her on bet or no. So let me just give a try. Now the insult that was done to Pandavas, to Draupadi. So if they would not have insulted Draupadi, Draupadi would have simply gone with the Pandavas to the forest. So the wickedness that Kauravas showed was that they brought her in the assembly and insulted her.
अभिषेक प्रभु पूछे, हरि बोल, यादव और यदु
Another
वंशी
question,
में अंतर है?
is there a difference between Yadav and Yadu Vangshi? Was Lord Krishna from Yadav clan or was he Yadu Vangshi? So there is no difference between Yadu Vangshi or Yadav. Yadu Vangshi means there was a Yadu king son of Yayati. There were 5 sons. One was Yadu. So who is born in the dynasty of Yadu is Yadav.
गरिमा जी पूछ रही है.
So the follow-up question for the question on King Yudhishthir is that does it mean that the Pandavas they lost their intelligence at that time? Yeah, definitely. In that situation, even they got bewildered. That's what I said. In such complex situations, best of the people get bewildered. Next question, what is the representing Ahankar on the chariot? There is no symbol of Ahankar on the chariot.
ठीक है, और तो कोई प्रश्न नहीं. तो हम प्रार्थना श्लोक.
Okay, so now we can recite the prayer verses.
सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् एकं शास्त्रं देवकी पुत्रगीतम् एको देवो देवकी पुत्र एव एको मन्त्रस्तस्य नामानि यानि कर्माप्येकं तस्य देवस्य सेवा कार्पण्यदोषोपहतः स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेतः यच्छ्रेयः स्यान्निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधि मां त्वां प्रपन्नम् यत्र योगेश्वरः कृष्णो यत्र पार्थो धनुर्धरः तत्र श्रीर्विजयो ध्रुवा नीतिर्मतिर्मम कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः नमः पंकजनाभाय नमः पंकजमालिने नमः पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजांघ्रये भवे भवे यथा भक्तिः पादयोस्तव जायते तथा कुरुष्व देवेश नाथस्त्वं नो यतः प्रभो नाम संकीर्तनं यस्य सर्वपाप प्रणाशनं प्रणामो दुःखशमनस्तं नमामि हरिं परम् हरि ओम तत्सत्।